Since GPI was launched less than 2 years ago, it has had a significant impact on cross-border payments. Joining me to provide us with an update on GPI's progress so far and to tell us about their plans for its future, from Swift, we're joined by Raymaekers, Head of GPI Portfolio Evolution, and Thierry, Head of GPI Customer Success Team. Gentlemen, welcome to Sibos TV.
Good morning.
Thank you very much for being here. Now, we'll start with you. GPI has obviously been enthusiastically embraced by the banks and the wider industry. Who and how many are on board now?
Well, indeed, GPI is transforming the cross-border experience and has been the biggest initiative, we think, in the last 40 years. And that, indeed, is shown by the number of banks who have joined this initiative. Over 280 banking groups have joined the GPI initiative, and they represent over 80% of the total cross-border payments on Swift.
Wow.
And they send about 1 million payments every day for a value of over 100 billion through GPI worldwide.
That sounds like incredible performance. Has that lived up to or exceeded your expectations?
No, absolutely. And one of the benefits that GPI brings is, for instance, the transparency and the tracking of cross-border payments. So we see you can track the payment end-to-end, and we see that more than 40% of all those payments are actually credited within 5 minutes. And that means that banks can provide a better transparency service to their customers, and they can also reduce the number of investigations. Because previously, you didn't know where the payment was. You had to call your bank, the bank had to call the other bank, and so forth. So now you can see in real time where your payment is, and that also reduces the investigation cost between banks and provides a better service to their end clients.
It's incredibly exciting. Thierry, in your view, what are the keys to unleashing the full potential of GPI?
I'm going to follow up on what Wim said. I think it's about, we are about these 280 banks. The full potential is about global adoption. So how do we go from this success that we've created so far, this momentum that is building in the industry, to have every single bank on the network be able to speak in a GPI language? So I would call it the new digital rail. This is what it is. It is growing, and the speed at which we're able to extend that rail to everybody in the ecosystem is what will unlock the full potential.
That's an incredibly exciting vision. Talk to us about strategy. How can we get to a place of universal adoption?
That's even more exciting than the beginning. So the ambition has raised in GPI. So how are we going to go about it? I think the first word that comes to mind is partnership, because GPI is about an ecosystem play. We have worked with the largest players right now that represent 80% of the flows, as you've said, and we want to go beyond. So partnership play, working with the corporates that transact with the banks, working with the banks that serve other banks, the market infrastructure. So we want to make sure, and also I don't want to forget, all the third-party ecosystem, so the application providers that are supporting the banks. That's how we're going to go to universal reach. And there's something very fundamental that's going to happen in a couple of weeks' time. With the new standard release, so GPI so far has been able to track payments in between GPI bank. Now we're coming to an amazing moment right now, whereby in November, we'll be able to trace a payment anywhere that the payment is on the network.
It's incredibly exciting stuff. Wim, as the lead of GPI Portfolio Evolution, which other exciting products and services are you exploring at the moment?
Well, indeed, we don't stop there. As Thierry said, GPI is all about collaboration and co-creation. So in addition to what we've already deployed and banks have embraced, we're looking to build the next value-added set of GPI services together with banks and partners in the ecosystem. For instance, one to mention, which actually was very successful in a pilot here in Asia, payments from China, Thailand, Singapore, cross-border into Australia being settled domestically through the NPP instant payment service. And we see that the overall payment experience is under 18 seconds. Cross-border, domestically cleared into Australia. Fantastic new development. Secondly, banks are also extending that experience that they now have between banks to their clients, providing for the tracking and the tracing so that corporates have that visibility and transparency in their applications. So it's really about extending the value between banks and also extending the value further to the end clients of our bank customers.
Thierry, your lead for GPI customer success team. Now, we mentioned universal adoption. How else would you define success?
Nothing short, but to say we want to transform the world of cross-border payments.
Right.
And maybe I say a bit more what's behind this transformation that we envisage. And we can probably extend that transformation to any financial transaction. We live in an exciting world where technology is enabling completely different experiences. And we want to, I'd say, delight our customers. Our customers are directly the banks connected to the network, and we want to help the banks delight their own customers with the user experience that they will get. So success for me looks like in phases, because as we've been very successful so far, it's just a question of growing the ambition. The next phase is to be as wide as possible with GPI, with many parties everywhere in the world using the GPI rails. The second layer of success is building customer-centric, solving real problems for the customers. Right? And this is quite an important one because we want to do this in dialogue with the banks. Where do they see the next value to be added? And we would know that we were successful when, in the end, what each party in the chain will get is a better value for their money. That's what we're really working towards. And I'm really glad to be able to be here in Sydney this week and share that with all the different delegates.
As are we, as are we. Wim, what's your message about GPI for the delegates here at Sibos this week?
Well, the message for delegates here at Sibos this week would be join GPI if you're not on it yet.
It's quite a simple message.
It's the new norm, so join the new norm.
Fantastic. Wim Raymaekers and Thierry Chilosi, thank you so much for joining us here on Sibos TV. We appreciate you being with us.
Thank you.
Thank you.